Hi guys! Welcome to week 2 of our English 9 class. Hopefully you had a fantastic week 1 of our school year. Once again, I am Mom Ruth Bel S. Molinas, your teacher on the go. And remember, if you have questions, I'm just a one chat away. So come on, let's find out what's in store for you today. You are supposed to be done with Learning Task 1, Learning Task 2, and the Learning Task 3. And for this week, here are our goals. We're going to discuss modals that express permission, prohibition, and obligation. Then, you're going to complete a dialogue by supplying the appropriate modals. Next, you're going to convert the infographics into a dialogue. And you're going to identify modals used in an article. Now, let's check and connect. We are going to check your answers in the previous tasks so that you will see their connections to our lesson, which is about modals. I want you to get your paper and check it on your own. You are now being trusted to check your own paper. And remember, honesty is the best policy. It is not just a simple quotation, but it will reflect who you are. So while you are young, practice honesty. We don't want to be cheated on, right? So let's start checking your paper. If you get the correct answer, put a check. If you happen to get the wrong answer, you can put a hyphen and then write the correct word so that you will remember. Let's start with Learning Task 1, wherein you were given signages and you're going to find its appropriate meaning. So for number 1, the correct answer is letter B. Smoking is not allowed here. Number 2, the answer is unauthorized person is not allowed here. Number 3, you cannot eat here. Number 4, it's letter D. You must not drink here. For number 5, it's letter F. Do not enter. For number 6, it's letter H. You cannot turn right or no right turn. For number 7, it's letter I. You must recycle. For number 8, it's letter J. You can drink here. Number 9, the answer is G. You can pitch in here. Last one, number 10, the answer is letter C. You must not litter here. So those are signages. By the way, signages are the use of signs and symbols to communicate messages. And those signs and symbols mostly communicate the rules and regulations. And when we are expressing rules and regulations, we can use modals. Let us now have your Learning Task 2, which is your pretest. For number 1, the correct answer is letter A, must. For number 2, it was supposed to be letter D, have to. But since our subject here, Karen, is singular, it must be has to. For number 3, the correct answer is letter B, can't. 4, the correct answer is letter C, can. And number 5, it's letter B, can't. For number 6, the correct answer is letter A, has to. For number 7, it's letter B, can. For number 8, it's letter A, must. For number 9, it's letter D, have to. And for number 10, it's letter B, must. So, how's your score? Kindly write it on your paper. Perfect or not, what matters most is that you are learning. My dear young people, I want you to watch and listen carefully. Our lesson is all about modals. What are modals? Modals are auxiliary or helping verbs. They may be used in expressing permission, obligation, and prohibition. Here are the examples of modals. For sentence number 1, I believe I can fly, can is your modal. Second sentence, Cody must call the police after the incident. Your modal here is must. Next, Janine has to prepare for her exams. In this sentence, has to is your modal. Then, Bernadette doesn't have to secure a permit for her to go out of her house. The modal here is doesn't have to. Modals expressing permission. When we say permission, it is an act of giving consent or authorization. And in expressing permission, you may use the modals can, could, and may. Meaning to say, when you say permission, pinapayagan ka to do something. You are being authorized. You are allowed to do something. And when you're expressing permission, you may use can, could, and may. How do we use can? So can is used to ask for and give permission. If you are asking for, kung ikaw ay humihingi o magbibigay ng permiso, you may use the modal can. Here are the examples. Can you give me your number? Can you help me with this? And I can do it if you want me to. Next is could. Could is also used as a more polite and more formal modal in asking permission. Examples: I could possibly ask my mom to cook it for us. Could I interview the mayor? Could you lend me your book? Then we have may. May is the most polite and formal modal used in asking and giving permission. We have can, which is used for informal way of asking and giving permission. Then we have could for more formal and more polite way of asking and giving permission. Then we have may, which is the most polite and most formal modal used in asking and giving permissions. Examples are: medical practitioners affected by COVID-19 may now claim their financial support from the government. Teachers may now distribute the modules to the learners. And the last one, may I borrow your book, please? Prohibition. When we say prohibition, it is the act of disallowing or prohibiting someone in performing or doing something. So prohibition is the opposite of permission. In permission, you are given the authority. You are being authorized to do something. You are allowed to do something. While in prohibition, you are disallowed. Hindi mo pwedeng gawin ang isang bagay. And in expressing prohibition, we may use the modals can't and must not or mustn't. So when do we use can't? Can't is used in dealing with something against rules, laws, and signs. This is used when the speaker is not the one who sets the rules. Meaning to say, if you're talking or expressing something that is against the rules or laban sa batas or sa mga patakaran, you may use can't. Meaning to say, hindi yung taong nagsasalita ang nag-set ng rule. Examples: you can't go out during the community quarantine. Why can't? Because community quarantine is a quarantine policy. It was set by the government. Okay? It is not just the opinion of the speaker. Next, the company can't apply for motion for reconsideration. Why can't? Because in this sentence, we're talking about motion for reconsideration, and that is a legal proceeding. Meaning to say, ito yung mga nangyayari na sa korte. Sa korte ginaganap yung mga ganon. So this is not a personal opinion of the speaker. It is based on rules and laws. Then, you can't buy any alcoholic beverages due to liquor ban. Can't, because liquor ban is a liquor ban policy. Polisiya siya na ipinatutupad ng gobyerno. So, it's not, again, a rule set by the speaker, but it is a general rule. Must not or mustn't. Must not or mustn't is used in dealing with something that is not permitted. In this context, it is the speaker who sets the rules. So if can't is for against the rules or law, must not and mustn't is the rule. The rules are set by the speaker only. Examples: you must not turn off your camera during the online class. So this is just between the teacher and his or her students. Next, mustn't you eat the fruits inside the fridge? This is pertaining to something between the mother and child. Last, Salome must not tell my secrets to her friends. This is just between the boss and her colleagues. Modals expressing obligation. Obligation expresses commitment or duty. Modals used in expressing obligation include have to for plural and has to for singular and must. In expressing obligation, we can use has to for singular and have to for plural if the obligation comes not from the speaker. Meaning to say, yung obligation, ito yung dapat mong gawin because it is set by the authority, the rule, or law. Ito ay batas na dapat mong sundin. Examples: I have to be in the airport before the flight departure. And that is the rule. Ito yung patakaran ng mga airport that you have to be there 3 hours or 5 hours before the flight itself. Next, she has to submit her report on time. And that is a general rule that you have to submit your report on time. Last, the company has to pay retrenchment benefits to its employees. So that is the rule or law of the company that they have to follow. Then we have must. So must is used when expressing obligation that comes from the speaker or from an authority. So it's the speaker who sets the rules. Example, or the obligation: I must call my husband now. Next, we must finish the report on time. And I must stay away from them. So it is just the speaker who is giving the obligation. Then we also have this no obligation. No obligation expresses the absence of commitment or duty, as one may do it or not. And in this case, we can use don't have to for plural and doesn't have to for singular. So meaning to say, these are the things na pwedeng wag mong gawin or gawin mo. Okay, that's no obligation. Examples of no obligations are: first, she doesn't have to attend the funeral if she's not feeling well. So if she's not feeling well, then she is not obliged to attend the funeral. Next, you don't have to come to my office in person. You may submit it online. So again, you have the options of submitting it in person or online. And the last, the employees don't have to come this morning as the activity will start in the afternoon. So again, there's the absence of commitment or duty. Pwedeng nilang gawin or pwedeng hindi. That's the point. So to summarize, again, modals are auxiliary verbs that are used to express permission. When you say permission, you are allowed to do something. And when you're expressing permission, you use can for informal, could for more formal and more polite, and may for the most formal and most polite way of expressing or asking and giving permission. Then you have prohibition, which is the opposite of permission. In expressing prohibition, which is you are not allowed to do something, you may use can't and must or mustn't, must not or mustn't. Then you have obligation. In expressing obligation, meaning to say obligation is your commitment or your duty to do something, you may use have to or has to and must. And then there is the no obligation, meaning to say there's the absence of commitment to duty or duty. You may use don't or doesn't have to. Now, after discussion, we will be proceeding to your learning tasks. And we have here learning task 4, which says, copy and complete in your notebook or in your paper the dialogue by supplying phrases or modals plus verbs expressing permission, obligation, or prohibition, whichever is necessary. So this is the activity on your worksheet or your module, which is entitled Once Upon a Pandemic. And you're going to fill out or complete the dialogue by the necessary modals. So let me show or let me do the first one for you. So for the first blank, the answer is have to be. We have to be strong. For learning task 5, using the infographic from the World Health Organization, convert it into a dialogue between two members of a family using phrases or modals plus verbs expressing permission, obligation, or prohibition. So in your worksheet or in your module, you will see these infographics, which contains home care for people with suspected or confirmed COVID-19. And what you're going to do is to make a dialogue out of it. Here is an example for learning task 5. So it's between Sydney and her mommy. So Sydney's line is, Mommy, how do we take care of a family member who is a suspected COVID-19 patient? And then Mommy will answer, we can start with the basic. We have to wash our hands regularly with soap and water. So you may continue until all the given information in the infographics have been mentioned in your dialogue. So you may think of you and your father or your mother or with your siblings as the characters in your dialogue. For learning task 6, you're going to get an article from a newspaper, a journal, or other online sources. Copy or cut and paste it in your paper. Then highlight each model used in the article. Then identify if the highlighted models express permission, obligation, or prohibition. So you're going to look for a magazine or a newspaper at home, or it is said here you can get from online sources. And then you have to cut it, and then on your paper you have to paste it. After that, you're going to highlight, look for the models and then highlight it, and then at the top of it or at the side of it you may write whether that model expresses permission, obligation, or prohibition. Once again, your tasks for the week are learning task 4, learning task 5, and learning task 6. And always check our official Facebook group, BBSM Grade 9 Hangout 2020, for the materials. And remember, whatever situation you are in, you must never stop learning. Happy learning, everyone. Keep safe and God bless.